Hello and welcome to another video on FS Elite. I'm Tom and today we'll be taking a first look at the brand new Leonardo software house Fly the Maddog X for Microsoft Flight Simulator. This is a product that I was very excited for, as many consider it to be within the top 3 of aircraft that were developed for the FSX and prepared platforms, and I got a lot of enjoyment out of those previous versions. The MSFS version brings with it most of those same features from prepared plus a bit more, like a detailed cabin that will also be backported to the prepared version. The aircraft is available for €75. For this first look, I'm going to be taking us on a quick flight from Portland International Airport by iBlue Yonder and sold by Flightbeam to Pacific Island Simulations Reno Tahoe International. I love the classic look of the MD-80 both inside and out, and the detailing in the cockpit looks wonderful in the MSFS lighting. The aircraft features an EFB that functions similarly to a limited version of the external aircraft setup utility that allows for customization of the aircraft without needing to be reloaded. With this EFB, you can adjust the weight and balance, import a SimBrief ACARS file and flight plan, configure different doors and maintenance areas, as well as manage passenger loading and external connections. So, going through the startup procedure, I turn on the battery, right aft fuel pump, the start pump, and then the APU. One thing I noticed throughout this flight is that some of the click spots seem to be very small with the plane. Not too big of a deal, but it can be a bit annoying at times. Once the APU is running, I get the plane off the external GPU buses and onto the internal APU buses. One thing that many new Maddog pilots forget is to bring these two pneumatic crossfeed valves into the up position for engine start. Once there, we can get our lights configured and begin the start procedure. You'll notice here my N2 stalled out a bit, and it was because I had the air conditioning on. Now, the DC-9 series of aircraft, which the MD-82 is a DC-9-82 technically, has a certain party trick that it used to be allowed to do at airports when a tug wasn't available back in the day. Since we're in a simulator, I thought it'd be fun to try that out. Those of you that are familiar with the prepared version of the plane are familiar with the not-so-stellar external sounds. Those did make a comeback with the MSFS version, though the developer has stated that they had trouble scheduling a new recording due to the pandemic, so we may see a change in the future. Another cool feature of this plane is that there's a click spot to bring up the takeoff and landing speed card that adjusts based on the aircraft's weight. There's also a quirk to this aircraft in the form of the dial-a-flap system, along with the lovely horizontal stabilizer trim noise. Now we just have to apply a bit of power to get the plane moving, and she'll gladly continue to roll. I love this view out the window of the aircraft, lining up for runway 10 left. Just the ability to see all those lights coming in with those clouds and the lighting is pretty great. Let's get another circling fan shot that, by chance, lined up with an AI A320 taking off. Of course, we have to stop by the cabin for a wing view and classic rear-mounted engine cowl view. Once lined up, we apply power, set the auto throttle mode, and hit the toga button. I like the added immersion this plane has of detecting the runway lights and adding the thumping noises when rolling the nose wheel over them. Emerging from the clouds is always a treat in this sim, and the views from the cabin are just as stunning once the autopilot is on. At the moment, there are spots where you can tell that this plane is from the older generation of simulators. This isn't bad in the case of this particular plane because of how high of a bar it's set in those previous sims. I will say this though, the developers were always adding new things to the plane since release that made it better and better. With a developer so passionate about their product as Leonardo, I don't doubt we will experience the same with the MSFS version, and that excites me more than anything. We have a base that picks up just about where the previous generation left off, and with a new platform, new things are possible. Throughout the flight, I got the occasional TCAS warnings from passing AI traffic. This traffic is provided via the freeware AIG one-click installer software and all of the respective developers that have contributed to the files that it uses. A cool feature I noticed during my flight was that you can change the display mode of the navigation display either by using the knob next to the EFB or by clicking on the display itself. As we get closer to the destination, I pulled some information into the landing performance calculator on the EFB to get my landing speeds. Here we are on approach, flying it in manually. The Maddog definitely feels a bit different from what I remember and prepared, such as the roll being fairly heavy. It has been a while though since I last flew the prepared version, so that may have changed in subsequent updates there too. Here we are at Reno, taxiing to the terminal while the APU starts up. We get a nice gentle approach to the gate and shut things down. I hope you enjoyed coming along with me on this flight and first look. Let us know down in the comments whether you plan on picking up this aircraft and what your thoughts are on it. These next few months are bound to be exciting for MSFS, so be sure to follow along with us to catch the latest and greatest.